Hey everybody, welcome back to Stop.Sit.Surrogate with Kennedy and Ellen. Today we're talking about Kennedy's third journey. That's kind of the one that kind of blew up. Um, but
What?
it was a learning lesson, let's put it that way. And talking
Okay.
points come from it. So here we go.
Do I have to be here for this?
Yeah, you do have to be here for this.
Oh, the bummer.
When
Okay.
when did you kind of start that third journey? Do you remember the kind of around the month or the time of year?
Well, yeah, so hold on. So my second surrogate baby was born early September of 2019.
Right.
And then I knew I wanted to do one more immediately. And so it was important to find a clinic, like a surrogacy agency that had a clinic that would allow me to do it at the 6-month mark,
Right.
not the year mark.
Mhm.
So I remember looking around, talking to quite a few people, and then they were like, um, some were like, no, you can't because of this, because of that, like just random things. So they were saying like, no, you can't come here for whatever reasons. And so I mean, without getting too much into all of that, then my agency, my second agency, reached out to me and were like, hey, are you looking to be a surrogate again? And I was like, odd timing. Yes, I am. I'm approaching my 6-month mark. Like, I would love to be a surrogate again. And now we're in 2020, beginning of 2020. So we're about to hit the pandemic.
Right.
So they reached out to me. They're like, okay, like what are you wanting out of this? And I told them, I was like, well, I would still like to go with the same-sex male couple. My base, I would like to have it, 10 grand higher, just like the normal things that I had in the past.
Right.
And they were like, okay. We actually, and then they came back and they were like, actually, we have a VIP. And I was like, all right, what's a VIP? Like this, like,
Yeah.
who is it? Like Andy Cohen? I was like, who's who? Like, what's a VIP? And they're like, so they are very well known in their industry, but they're a heterosexual couple, but the brother is gay.
Well, that makes it all
Okay,
better.
so
That
is
makes
that
it all
how you're
better.
trying to sell this?
Yeah.
Like, there's no same-sex couple, but they
Have
know.
a gay
They
person.
know of an LGBTQ
Blood related.
member.
Did you ever meet that brother?
No,
Okay.
no, I
Keep
did not.
going.
Yeah, so and I just want to preface this. This might be a choppy video because I might have to pause and think of what I'm gonna say because I did sign an NDA, and
Right.
so editing's gonna have to go on. But so I was like, okay, this is different. Like, sure, let's try it. Like, let's meet him. Let's do it.
Right.
And so we met on Zoom, and the psychologist met with us. Now, the psychologist is not affiliated with the agency, but like she is.
Right.
So whatever. So she was on there with us, and then so was the coordinator.
Mm.
And I remember I was upstairs and I was Zooming them, and they seemed really nice, on their best behavior. We all were.
Most everybody is on a meeting. Yeah, of
Absolutely,
course.
on your first meeting. Hello,
Of
first
course.
impressions.
Yeah.
Um, and some things. Okay, so some things were talked about in that meeting. It was just like a meeting. Like, are we gonna match? And some things were talked about how they view certain testings
Yeah.
that they would like to happen
Throughout the pregnancy. Yes.
throughout the pregnancy.
Yep.
And they were pretty adamant
Right.
about those testings.
Right.
And that was a red flag to me. And I said, no. Unfortunately, I don't believe in testing certain things just for the heck of it. That's my body. That means I'm being probed and pricked, and
If it's medically necessary, that's a different story, but
exactly.
these seem to be wants. That's all. They
Yes,
seem to be wants.
I'm not all about elective procedures.
Right.
I guess that would be the correct saying there.
Yep.
Yeah. So we got off the call. Everything else went well.
was on that call, they just brought it up, or was it agreed that you wouldn't
No,
meet?
no, no, nothing was agreed. They just brought it up. It was
Okay.
just like this is our view on certain things, and I was like, this is my view on certain things.
Okay.
So we talked about termination
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff, and I told them where I stood. They told me where they stood. So we got into the nitty gritty of it all. And then, well, and FYI, they lived 20 minutes from me, so
Right.
that should have been another red flag, but it's fine. But it was during COVID, so I really didn't think that we were gonna like hang out anyways, because
Yeah.
middle of COVID, nobody knew what's going on. So, anyways, we get off the phone call, and the psychologist person calls me and is like, "What do you think?" And I was like, "Well, I'm gonna let you know right now, the only thing I don't agree with
Hmm.
is to do elective procedures. I'm just not, that's not my belief.
Yeah.
I know that some people just like to make sure that everything's good,
Right.
but that's not, I don't want to mess with that. I don't feel comfortable doing that."
Right.
And she said, "Okay, well, let me go talk to them." Oh, well, now their tune has changed. So now they're okay with not doing elective procedures.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Well, if that's the case, then sure. I had no other huge red flags. Like they seemed nice, and yeah, like let's move forward. Let's do it.
Okay.
So come to contracts.
Hmm.
Now we're at contracts. And this is the first time that I had a couple stateside because all my other couples were international.
Right.
So they would show up to the appointments and wait in their car with masks, which was very new to me to have them be like next to me the whole time. And it's just like
But you realize that in surrogacies where the intended parents are close by in a normal setting, let's take COVID
yeah,
out of the equation,
no, yeah,
it allows them to feel more a part of it. So I can understand where
yes,
people would want to attend. I mean, we've talked to a lot of surrogates where the parents were there, or they FaceTimed them in, or they tried to bring them
yes,
in as much as they could. So I can
yes,
understand that point.
yes. And I was totally okay with it until I wasn't,
Okay.
because of how we'll get into that, but how communication and overbearing it became.
Okay.
Because there's a healthy way to have a relationship,
Yes.
and it wasn't going in that direction. But so yeah, so the clinic's really close. It's really close to them. So they would show up. Again, we're in the middle of COVID. They were not allowed in at all, even though she was going to that same clinic to retrieve eggs and make embryos and all that kind of stuff. She was never allowed in when I was allowed in.
Wow.
So
Interesting that it was the same clinic and they wouldn't allow her in when you were in.
same
That's
clinic,
interesting.
even if
Mhm.
she had an appointment like an hour before, she could not come back
Yeah.
and be with me
Right.
then. And I felt really bad, like during transfer and stuff. Like I was like, oh, that's sucky, but like I'll film it. And like they were even out of town when we had the transfer anyways. But like, so anyways, but before that, we get to the contracts, and I read the contracts, and I've read enough by now. And I noticed some wording in one of the last pages, and I was like, okay, how me, like legal jargon, help me out. So I call my lawyer. I don't even call. Nope, sorry, I don't call. I don't do calling with lawyers. I do emailing because I need written documentation, because in
Right.
this case it helped.
Yep.
So I wrote him and I was like, what does this mean? I need it to mean A,
Mhm.
and I'm reading it as B.
Right.
And he's like, oh, no, no, no. It means A. It means what you want. And I'm like, oh, great. Here I go. Let me sign it, notarize it. We are done. That was my legal advice.
Right.
My lawyer told me
Are
this
we
is what,
are we allowed to say
no,
nothing? Okay.
no. I'm not allowed to talk about specifics in my contract.
Wow. Okay. Jesus.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, okay. So remember, I'm thinking this whole journey,
Yeah.
it's A. And this wasn't like some little thing.
Uh-uh.
This was like a big, big thing.
Yeah, I know what
And
it is, but
I
I'm
know
not.
you know what it is, but like I can't tell other people
No, of course.
verbatim. But like
Of course.
I don't want it to be like, oh, she has to wear a mask when she gets her nails done. It's no, I could deal with that. Like
Yeah,
this is a really
yeah,
big deal.
it is.
So so anyways. So talked to the lawyer. He was like, yes, we got it notarized. It was time to go on the journey and everything like that. Transfer came really quick. we had a transfer, I believe it was August 6th of 2020. Because the clinics had all closed down. We matched in April of 2020. Yeah, it was a long time because the clinics
Right.
had all closed down because
Yeah.
we had matched like 2 weeks after the world was like, oh no, no, no. And then it was like, oh crap, okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Wow.
actually we matched on 420, LOL. Um, yeah, so then come August, I finally have a transfer, and my bed rest for that was the strictest bed rest I've ever had. And it was, you sit in your bed for 3 days, you don't get up to shower, you only get up to pee. Like, do you, you don't remember that?
Remember that because we had to help with your son
Yeah. So
and
yeah,
you.
because you guys had, yeah, you made me a taco platter. It was
Yeah, I
so
remember.
nice. It was so nice. Yeah. And it was in this hot, hot summer, and you guys got to go swimming in the pool. And I was just like, oh, this sucks. And like, it was during COVID. So it's not like we could go anywhere anyways, but like, I was already so confined from the world that like, it was just like, okay. Um, but yeah, so 3 days strict bed rest. It was a bit intense for me, but
Are you working at this time at an outside job or no?
no, COVID.
You weren't
COVID
working
hit.
either. Okay. Well, I worked all the way through COVID, so
Yeah, well, you were
I
one of
don't.
the lucky ones.
Uh, okay. Okay. So no, you weren't. Okay.
Yeah, no, I wasn't working.
Okay.
Which was beneficial to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, so let's see. So we test 2 weeks. Well, I mean, I cheated. I took tests at home, and they were
Yeah.
showing up positive, and they wanted to know, and I was like, they're showing up positive.
Oh, they did. Okay.
So here you go. And they were like, okay, well, we're not gonna get our hopes up. I was like, that's fine. And so we went and got beta, and they were there, and they were sweet. They brought me a present. Our relationship was decent. Like, it was fine. We would text. I would text her. She would text me. We had the husband in the loop, but like, really, I get it. It was like a woman to woman thing, like mother to mother. And I was like, yeah, like, I'm so about this. Like, this
Yeah.
is a new experience for me. I would love to be a part of this. So then,
Where does it turn?
yeah, so we're
Yeah.
getting there. So we're at the clinic, and they're still not allowed in.
Right.
It's like September now. It's like September. I graduated. So it's crazy that I remember these dates. They're just so traumatic. I graduated from the IVF clinic on September 10th, 2020.
Okay.
So it was pretty cool. It was really great. But I had my first OB appointment September 8th, 2020. So 2 days before I graduated,
Oh,
which was weird, but that's how that clinic wanted to do it.
yeah.
So I had let them know before showing up to the OB. I was like, hey, I called. It's the same way. You guys aren't allowed in. They're not, because it was a sonogram. And I was like, they're not going to let you guys in. It's just the same as the other clinic. It's COVID policy. But I would love to take video and like send it to you guys. And if you guys are there, then like, airdrop it to you, like whatever, however you want to get it. Like, I'll take pictures, like as long as they allow me, but they should allow me. Like, I've been there several times, blah, blah, blah. She did not take that well
Yeah.
at all. And that's where everything turned in an instant. And I mean in an instant, because I sent that text and she came whipping right back. And I was so taken aback. And I didn't even reply for like a couple hours, because I immediately called my agency and was like, what did I say? Like, what did I do
Yeah.
wrong? Like, was I being like mean? Like, I don't think I was just trying to tell her like the truth. And my agency, like the psychologist, they were like, no, like, that's not on you. Like, that's on COVID. Like,
Mhm.
you can't change the doctor's
No.
way. Well, the intended mother had a lot of words to say, and wanted to now go back on her agreement of elective procedures,
Oh,
because um she knew someone that would allow her to come in the room
okay.
for this elective procedure if we go to them and do all the things with them rather than my OB.
Got it.
Um, And I was like, wait, I
Yeah.
don't understand. So I immediately told my agency, I was like, I am more than happy to offer them like once or twice a month. Like we can go to a 3D, 4D ultrasound. Like if that's what they really want, I
Yeah.
am more than happy to work my schedule and make that work for them. Like in no way do I want to take any part of this journey away from them. That's not on me.
It's
That's
COVID. Right.
this isn't me. This isn't
Yeah.
me doing it. But yet I was the one taking all of the
Right.
blame. And I was just
Yeah.
like, what is going on here? So I messaged them that on September 7th. So my OB appointment was September 8th. Um, and also, by the way, my agency told me not to offer. Well, no, my agency told me to offer that, but not to offer like, oh, we can get together like, every Saturday or every two
Oh,
Saturdays. I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm willing to do that, but whatever. So they were like, no, just offer the 3D 4D ultrasound. So I did. They shot it down like instantly. Like they were, well, I shouldn't say they, she
wow.
shot it down. She's like, no, I don't want that.
Wow.
Okay. So now I'm starting to get the vibe that like no one tells her no
Right.
and that she gets to call the shots. Okay. What's gonna go like what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
So I hate this. So so I get to my appointment on the 8th and I tell them beforehand, hey, because I haven't started work yet, but you were working and you were watching my kid. And I was like, hey, I don't have time after the appointment. I have to rush back home. It's while my mom's on lunch and immediately she's off. Like I can't jeopardize her job to watch my kid. And it just so happens to work like this. So I can get there about 15, 20 minutes beforehand
Mm-hmm.
and we can talk and do all that. But then afterwards, I can hand you your pictures, the video, and everything like that. And then I gotta go home.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, okay, okay. So, so September 8th, I'm there. I pull up, and she doesn't show, but the intended father does show. So I was like, somebody's mad. So she didn't clearly show because she was upset. But he showed up and he came and hugged me. And we're in the middle of COVID. And like I didn't ask for the hug. He didn't ask me for the hug. Like he just came in and hugged me. And I was like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, no, like this is not safe for anybody. I'm carrying your baby. Like, let's think about things for a
Right.
second. My health is its health.
Normal
So
circumstances
whatever.
we wouldn't have thought second about that. We wouldn't have it wouldn't have been a problem. But because
No,
it's
but this is
COVID,
September of
exactly.
2020. They're
No, I
like,
know. I know.
this is
I know.
still so new. So,
Right.
anyways, so I was like, okay, like I understand that you have to wait out here. He's like, yeah, I already tried to go in. I was like, right, I know. Like they told you, like I gave you a heads up. Like I'm not just BSing you here. Like I'm not
Yeah.
that kind of person. So I go in, I explain the situation. I'm literally shaking, like shaking, because I am just like, I have so much anxiety and
Yeah.
stress. And I am just like, so I'm talking to the technician and she's like, honey, just pull out your phone. Like, I'm going to let you do this. Ask for me every single time. We'll schedule it when I'm here. This is so not needed for you to go through this. Absolutely take out your phone. And I was like, okay, thank you so much. Because a lot of the times they wouldn't let you take out your phone
Right.
because of radiation or something. I don't know what it is. So she was like, absolutely do it. So I did it, recorded the whole thing and sent it to him immediately. Like before I was even out of the room, I sent it to him and he had it. So it said delivered. He had it. So I go out, I have the pictures, and I go out there and he's like, oh, thanks so much. I want to talk real quick. And I was like, oh, no, can't talk right now. Remember, I have to go. And he's like, no, just real quick. I just want to pick your brain at something. And I was like, yeah, no, I only feel comfortable if we talk if the agency or our lawyers are present at this moment. And because they were already really verbally aggressive with me. And he was like, well, I want to talk now. And that's when he steps towards me and there's a big gray truck right behind me. Like, you know how like trucks are a bit longer than the normal cars. They had a normal car. So he cornered me into the gray truck and he lunged at me when I was like, I need to go. And he's like, no, I want to talk now. No, I'm not going to talk to you unless a lawyer or the agency is present. A third party needs to hear what's going on because you guys are saying it's a he said, she said thing right now. And I'm not about that. And so either we need to have things in writing or we need a third party present. And I'm shaking in my freaking shoes. And he is just like, well, I don't care. And I was like, well, I do care. So, and I tried to back out, and it was probably 15 minutes of me just trying to be like,
Wow.
no, I need to go.
I would have
Like,
pulled out my phone and called 911. That's what I would have
well,
done.
that just got too extreme for that moment. And I was just like, oh my God. But then he finally let me go because I was like, I'm literally not going to talk to you. Like, because he wanted to talk about going to this other
Right.
doctor so that way they could get their way. And
Right.
I already had said way before the beginning, I'm not about that.
Right.
I don't believe in that. Um, so we get to so he lets me leave finally. And I literally run to my car. I don't feel safe. He verbally attacked me. I felt like he was going to get physical because of how close he was, because he physically lunged at me. I was just like, oh
Wow.
my God. It just was so uncomfortable. So then I immediately called my lawyer. I got in the car and I called my lawyer and I said, it is, I don't even remember what time it was, but I was like, it is like 1:42 p.m. on September 8th. And this happened and blah, 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 blah. And I need you to document this because this is completely uncalled for and I feel unsafe. Unsafe.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get so annoying with using this word right now. Unsafe.
Uh-huh.
I feel scared
Was
and
that a
frightened.
message to him or was that
Yes.
you were talking to him?
No, it was a message.
Okay.
I called him, so he has the voicemail. Then I call my psychiatrist, like who's like part of the agency,
Yeah.
because they were like, call her if there are any problems. Great. So I
Mhm.
call her. She doesn't answer. I leave her a message. So then I call the agency coordinator.
Yes.
She doesn't answer. So I leave her a message. And then I get a call back about 2 hours later, and they're like, what happened? Okay, well, let me tell you what happened.
Wow.
And the psychiatrist lady is like, well, that's just uncalled for. I was like, yes, it is uncalled for. And I don't feel safe. Like,
Right.
I literally am scared to go on Friday because of this guy threatening me,
Yeah.
lunging at me, thinking that his actions are 100% okay.
Yeah.
None of that was okay.
Right.
And he couldn't handle the fact that a younger woman was saying no. Like, if I had a husband or a boyfriend at the time and they were standing next to me, I really doubt he would have done that. Like, I think that was just
I
that
just
was just,
I disagree.
oh, see, and I don't. I
I
think he would
disagree.
have done it in a more professional way. But
Mhm.
how I feel is she sent her attack dog because did
Mhm.
she show up? No, she didn't, because she was butthurt. And so she's like, well, you go be the jerk and you give her, your speech and your threats and this and that, and you be aggressive because you're a man. It made the most sense to me as I got to know them more, that's how that came across.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, so I'm like, okay, so let's see, it's now September 9th, and I swear to God, it was 10 o'clock at night and I didn't hear a thing because what I had asked was, I need somebody from the agency to be there at the clinic at 6 a.m. because that's when I was going, 6 a.m. on September 10th, 2020. I have it all in writing. I was like, I need you guys to be there. And if you can't make this happen, then they cannot be there. I refuse to be around them without officers or without security or without a third party watching their every move.
Okay, I need to back up just a little bit. The 10th was the appointment that you were getting released from the
OB
clinic.
or from the clinic.
Clinic. They weren't allowed in there when you were there.
No,
They could have
but
been in the parking lot.
they could have been in the parking lot.
Oh, I
And
see.
they could have stopped me before I
Okay.
went in the doors.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And
Okay.
so I just have to pause and say, this is when I started making a lot of friends in the surrogacy world, because some of you might remember I posted it. I looked like the freaking Unabomber because at 10 o'clock at night, they were like, oh, well, we haven't told them that they can't go. Well, I have told you at least 7 times within the past 24 hours that I feel unsafe being around them. Like, if I were to have made that claim at a job, action would have been taken and an investigation would have been started.
Yeah.
Like, why did she feel unsafe? But you guys, because they have money, don't care. Because who am I? I am just a carrier. That's it. That's how
I
they
know.
made me feel. That's
I know
how
they
they made me feel.
Yes.
And this is only like, we're only like not even like all like halfway through this damn story.
Wow.
So so I was like, you need to send out a message now, like now. And so she's like, okay. So she sends out a message and says, Kennedy doesn't feel safe with you guys around her. So it would be in best interest that you don't show up. So you're going to throw me
God.
under the bus
Yes.
because you don't want to deal with their BS.
Wow.
Oh my God, all respect out the door.
Right.
Like, how dare you
So now
put
it's
a
you against,
surrogate
it's you
in that
against,
position?
yeah, it's you
And
against everybody
yeah,
else now.
and let's just back up for a second.
Wow.
Who reached out to who asking to work with this couple?
Right. Well,
It
we
all
know.
goes back and makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
It makes sense because nobody wanted to work with them. So I don't know what they were giving off to me that
Okay.
was so different. I don't know. I don't know.
Experience.
I could spin down that rabbit hole for
Experience.
a century,
You had
maybe,
experience. Yes, I firmly believe that.
whatever. So, anyways, so that's when I started blogging and talking to all of you guys on social media and being like, what do I do? What do I freaking do? So I show up. I remember I'm in a blue shirt. I wear a really baggy shirt. I put my hair up. I had this crazy mask on. I put shades on and I put a hoodie on. And so no one could freaking tell who the hell I was. I looked like a freak. And I just wanted to, and then so I got there. I parked underground. I didn't even know they had an underground parking, but it was 6 a.m. in the morning. So I parked underground and then I went through the back door and then up the elevator, still dressed in like a Unabomber because I knew at this point they couldn't get in there. They couldn't get, like, they couldn't go in because they don't have an appointment.
True.
So I just needed to get from the parking lot
Yeah.
into the building.
Got it.
But how sad.
Yeah.
How sad to have to feel that way when you're a surrogate and you're literally creating life and all you guys care about is money and whatever's in your personal best interest, not the best interest of your unborn child. Because all of that stress is now going on to me.
Right. And that's all affecting the pregnancy. Yeah, absolutely.
And it shows later on.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
how it affected the pregnancy.
Wow.
So, so long story short, well, that we'll cut that short. So everything works out, everything's fine. I get back to my car. I didn't run into them at all. I get home and I hang out with my kid. And I recorded the whole thing. I recorded me walking into the building and walking out in case one of them decided to pop up because the agency refused to send me security because they said you're overreacting. No, I'm not overreacting. I'm not overreacting. Thank you very much. So then from that point on, I let my agency know. I said, they will not be texting me directly. They will not be emailing me directly. And all communication will be done with third party. Everything that is said will have to be viewed by the agency and lawyers. Thank you. That is because I knew my rights. I read my contract. I played it to a T. And that's when I started. I was like, what's the bare minimum that I have to do?
Right.
What is the bare minimum? Because how dare you think that all of you can treat me like this? Then the agency has the audacity to this is why I can't name the agency, by the way, you guys, because a lot of people are like, where'd you go? I can't name them because I have nothing nice to say about them. And because I have nothing nice to say about them, I can't.
But it's a shame you can't steer people away.
Right.
Tell them to do their research on that specific one, but is what it is.
It is what it is. But anyway, so my coordinator calls me and I'm pregnant. I'm like 10, 12 weeks pregnant at this point. Right. And she's like, Kennedy, this is just so heartbreaking. You're not being a good surrogate. And she nailed into me.
Wow.
And I remember I was in my room for like an hour crying to this woman. Wow. I am a good surrogate. How dare you tell me I'm not a good surrogate? I have offered everything and they have shot it down time and time and time again. So no, how dare you? And she's like, well, if I was great, then you be their surrogate. Yeah. Don't tell me because you know what, honey, you're getting paid for this. Yes, I'm getting a compensation, but to deal with these jerks, it's not enough.
Right.
It's not because of all the stress. I should have been in therapy during this or had massages daily because of the stress. Like
therapy would have been better. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, don't tell. She just nailed me over the head for an hour saying, you're not a good surrogate. I will never forget that conversation because it's the only time in my life where somebody had the audacity to tell me that I was not being a good person when that's literally how I was raised. And I know how to stand up for myself. I wasn't being a good surrogate because I was standing up for myself. That's what that is.
Yeah.
Because I said no, because I fought back, because you can't do a damn thing about it because I know my rights.
Right.
So,
gosh, hold on.
oh, sorry.
Gosh.
You okay?
Mhm.
Okay. 2 weeks go by
Okay.
and
No
I'm like, so what's going to be done?
Oh.
Like, how is he going to be reprimanded? And they're like, well, we haven't even talked to him about it. You haven't even talked to him about his actions towards me? I was so dumbfounded because this couple was acting like nothing had happened. And I'm like, why in the hell do they think that we're on such goody good terms? And the agency is like, well, we haven't talked to them about it. Why? And when I asked why, they said, well, we don't have anything in writing. I called you, I left messages, I have talked to you in depth about this situation at least 4 to 5 times with 5 different people. So let's not say we had nothing to reprimand him on. So, but
because you didn't make a formal written complaint, is that why?
Yeah, right. But I was never told that that's how it had to be done.
Got it.
So when I asked and they were like, well, you haven't written anything. Oh, well, hold on, honey. I'll write it right now.
Yeah.
And I did. And I remember I had your help writing it because I was too stressed out, too pissed off. And you were like, you have to be professional. And I was like, I don't want to be professional, but like I will.
Yeah.
So we wrote, oh my God, that thing was probably, if you printed it out, it was probably like freaking 5 to 7 pages long. It was,
gosh, really?
no, because I gave every detail. I gave timestamps.
Okay.
I gave motions. I gave looks. I gave threats, everything. And then I threw the agency in with it too. And I said, I called so-and-so at this time and left a message here. Like, don't tell me I didn't do my due diligence because I did. And I wanted it all in writing. So that way, if it ever went to court, I never had to say it again. And I could just be like, oh, just please look at exhibit A. It's right here. Like,
right.
I guess that's the lucky me of knowing what like court is like, because I have a sister who's a lawyer, but like, so once I finally like wrote it out, they're like, well, we'll talk to him. Okay, sure you are. That's when I no longer believed in this freaking agency. And I was like, you're not gonna say anything. You're just gonna say, oh, shame on you. So sad. Like, no. So then we had to talk there was a certain amount of time. There was a time frame that we had to talk.
Right.
Like it was like,
it wasn't verbally, was it?
No. They were blocked on my phone. So the only way they could contact me was through email. And if they ever sent me an email that the agency or the lawyers weren't attached to, I didn't reply. And I replied through a third party because that was the agreement that I told my lawyer. And he said, that is your right. And I said, I freaking know it's my right.
Yeah. Wow.
Because all it said is that I had to communicate with them, not how, that's the stuff where if you need to get the nitty gritties, that's when you got to go back and you got to look, how do I have to communicate with them? Never said I had to do it on the phone.
But we're hoping this doesn't happen to any other surrogates.
No.
Right? None of this stuff. But
as much as it irks me to share this story, I laugh about it now, but like it still makes my blood boil just a little.
Because you're still up here.
Disgusting.
Way up here. Yeah.
Because
I know you're reliving it. I got it.
Live it.
I got it. I got it.
But like, I don't ever want this to happen to somebody else.
Right.
Like, it's so awful. And thank God I was such an experienced, not such, but experienced enough and had you being an experienced surrogate. So like me and you together, our minds were like, this is a red flag. Like, this isn't, no, this isn't how things are done. Even though they're 20 years apart, this isn't how things are done.
Right. They're not.
Yeah. So anyways, where were we?
So now you're probably into the pregnancy, probably maybe 3 or 4 months.
Oh, wait. So yeah. So he got reprimanded, right?
Oh,
so then after that, they were making a big stink about my OB for no reason other than to just cause drama. Cause like my OB is great. So I told my OB, he's like, oh my God, Kennedy. Okay. I'm just going to send you across the damn street and you're just going to go get monitored there because it's for higher risk people. And if they want that to feel comfortable, you don't need it. And I'm going to write that you don't need this high risk. You're not a high risk pregnancy,
Yeah.
but for you to just not have to deal. I love my OB.
Right.
He's like, for you to not have to deal with this and for me to not have to deal with this, we're
Right.
just going to send you over there. I view them all, but you're just not going to get your sonograms here.
Yeah.
Like, you're still going to show up here and I'm
Yeah.
still going to be like, how you doing? Oh, great. 22 weeks. Awesome. Let's see you later. Like,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, great. So that's what we ended up doing. Um, and then
And
come
they weren't allowed in those.
they weren't allowed in them. And then comes like right before Thanksgiving. It's like October.
Okay.
It's like the end of October. And she calls, my IM calls the hospital and it's like, makes a big stink. And now they're gonna let her in. And
Oh,
I never agreed to that. And
right.
I have every right to say no, because that
No.
is my right
Yeah.
to not be my privacy not be invaded.
Right.
And called my lawyer, asked him about that. He's like, it is your right. I
Right.
was like, okay. But he was very wonky about it.
Because they want you to play nice and get it,
Huh?
get everybody touchy feely nicey again because you're gonna
Yeah.
have a birth here coming up. So
But
yeah, I
he
get it.
was very wonky. He was like, well, yeah, if you don't want her, then, but we're going to deal with a big stink. And I'm
Right.
like, no, you're going to deal with a big stink.
Right.
I don't have to do anything. You have to deal with it. Like, be a lawyer. So then what happened was, my agency calls me and they're like, Kennedy, like this might be a peace offering. And I was like, you know how many freaking because I sent out olive branches.
I
This
know.
chick asked me for a belly pic. I sent her a belly pic, but then it wasn't enough. So I was like, no, screw you. I'm not going to send you any more. I don't have to. I'm not legally obligated to. So like it just became to the point where she clearly wanted to control this whole thing. And I'm not about control. But at this point, I had to protect my well being because, again, what am I doing? Creating life.
Yeah.
So I have to protect my well being in return to protect its well being.
Yeah.
It was a boy, so his well being.
Yeah.
So my agency is like, just do it. And I'm like, oh my God. Okay, everybody, like, go ahead. But I was like, but this is what I said. I said,
Yeah.
he is not allowed to be there. He is not allowed to be within 100 feet from me because I had already asked my lawyer for a restraining order because
Oh,
it had gotten to the point where like nobody was doing anything to protect me except for my lawyer because clearly he's never dealt with this. And I don't mean to like shit on this lawyer because he was the only one who attempted to protect me
yeah.
in this whole thing. But my agency was like, well, like, what do you need for her to go? And I was like, I need one of you assholes to be there.
Okay.
You need to watch what happens. You need to watch what is said. I'm not going to hang out with her. We're not best friends. She wants to go and see her baby on a sonogram. Go and see your baby on a sonogram. Ask the doctor all the questions. I'm not saying a damn word.
Right.
And I remember I got back on social media that day, or the day before, and I was like, okay, so my IM is coming to the appointment. Do I take an elevator with her or do I take the stairs and avoid her? I remember asking people that and they gave me and it was kind of like 50-50. And they're like, or you can just take the elevator and not talk to her. And I was like, yeah, well, like that's a lot. But so I mean, it was just crazy. And so what ended up happening is I was like, fine, if you're gonna play nice. Like she was outside, she was playing nice. I was like, cool, let's play nice. So we get in the elevator. I don't talk to her,
Yeah.
but we get in the elevator and we go and sit. And she's like, okay, will they call us soon? I'm like, they'll call us when they're ready. Like I wasn't being mean. I was just like, I don't know. Like you're making me come to this special place to do shit. So I don't. This
You
isn't
don't
like
know
my
how they
doctor's
run.
office.
Yeah, you don't know how they run their office.
I don't know how they run their stuff
Yeah.
there. So they finally call us and we both get to go back and it was a beautiful moment for her. And I was so happy to be able to give her that. Like
Yeah.
I'm not trying to hold anything from you, but
Right.
like respect me.
Yeah.
Like my God, oh my God, I have a cramp. That like really hurt me to say respect me. And so she cried. She was very touched. She was very moved. She was very thankful. And I was like, yeah, I was very thankful. So I was happy to be able to share that moment with her.
Yeah.
And I was really hoping that she wasn't going to mess anything up so that way we could have more moments where she really felt like she was involved with this journey.
Right.
And so, but she got to ask the doctor all the questions and she got to take the sonogram pictures. And we go back downstairs and, we're smiling. And she says, thank you again. And she says, can I hug you? And I said, I'd prefer not. But thank you for asking. And she's like, of course. And I was like, okay, great stuff. Bye-bye.
Oh.
At least she asked.
Yeah. Right. I think as much as you don't think, I think she was really trying. But for her being her personality, the way that she conducts herself in business, things like that,
Yeah.
it just it that's just not her.
No, I get it. And like,
Right?
whatever.
Okay.
But still, treating people with respect is pretty
I'm
simple.
aware, but I just don't think that was really in the vocabulary.
No, clearly not. They were like raised on a barn.
Oh, wow.
Like I don't understand. So I'm downstairs and my coordinator's there and she's like, how that, like, she walks me back to my car and she like stops and she's like, stay. And I was like, why? What happened? And she's like, he is right there picking her up.
Okay.
And I said, okay, great.
That's
I'm
what
not
you
gonna,
needed. You
yeah, I'm like,
needed
I'm not
people to
gonna
run interference. That's
Yep.
correct. Yep.
That's why you were there.
Yep.
So we talk on the way back and she's like, that was really nice of you to do that. And I was like, uh-huh.
Right.
Guilt tripped me into it, but
Right.
like, uh-huh. Like,
Right.
yeah, uh-huh. Am I still not a good surrogate?
Yeah.
Like,
No, you're not.
I don't know, you tell me. Because clearly you're the one with the opinions.
Wow.
So she walked me back to my car, whatever, we're talking, blah, 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 blah. So after that, it becomes closer to Christmas. But like things are like, oh my God, I kind of forget the big thing that happened around Thanksgiving, but something happened around around Thanksgiving, they wanted me now because it's on their time to go get a 3D 4D ultrasound. And and this is the time that I realized, oh, the thing in the contract that I looked at as A and was told was A, but is now coming out as B. I will go get a 3D 4D ultrasound if you stop threatening me with this contract and let us amend it to make sure that every single word means A. I remember doing that. She said, oh, we gave it to her lawyer. Her lawyer did not do her due diligence and did not give her that paper until after Thanksgiving. And they wanted to do it before Thanksgiving. She waited 2 weeks to give her the paper. And the reason I know that is because my lawyer was furious.
Yeah, I
He
remember
said,
that.
this is so not okay.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, well, you don't have to tell me twice. This whole thing's not okay. So he was upset and he's like, brace yourself. This is going to get real rough. And I was like, oh, I can tell.
Mhm.
I can tell. So I'm pissed, like livid to no end. And we are not supposed to be talking directly. And on Christmas, when I'm spending it with my family, they message me and are like, Merry Christmas. Nope. You're not allowed to talk to me. You're not allowed. You didn't see anybody. You did this on your own thing. We're not friends, honey. We are not friends. You guys have not respected me from the get-go of this.
Right.
And all I have asked is that you guys speak with a third party because everybody needs to know what's being said.
Right.
So when that happened,
that's controlling the conversation and they don't want that. Right. It's all about control. All of it.
No. So I raise hell with the agency and I'm like, what in the flying Donkey Kongs is going on? Like, this is so stupid. And they were like, oh my gosh, we had no idea. Oh, BS, honey. Because guess what I found out? I was sent because I was causing, my name showed up on the top person of this agency's desk.
Right. I remember that.
On the top person.
Yeah.
Not the CEO, the one right below it.
Yeah.
The one right below it. Because I was being a problem.
Yes.
I was being the problem.
Right.
The one who's being disrespected
is being the problem. Yep.
The not so good surrogate is being the problem.
Yep.
So
So what does this lady do?
this lady likes to tell me I have to take full responsibility. I told them to message you out of the group. Why would you do that? You
As a
think that
Christmas
you have the
gesture.
right to do that? No, but that is just showing you how
Yeah.
much power and how how this agency thinks that they can run over surrogates.
Kind of, yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, absolutely. And now you're going to put me on her desk and say, I'm trouble. My
Mhm.
psychologist no longer could be on the case because my IPs hated her because my understanding was that she was kind of supporting me in my feelings and they did not like her. She literally told me they don't like me. And I was like, welcome to the club. Like, I don't know what else to tell you.
Yeah.
And so I was sent to this girl, and she's like, well, now I'm in charge. And I was like, good for you. My views aren't changing, and
Yeah.
you're not going to scare me into it. I know my rights. I
Mhm.
know what I can be sued on.
Mhm.
Bring it.
Have at
Like,
it. Yep.
what's going to happen now?
Right.
And so she's like, well, like, and I joked, I was like, so am I the problem girl? She's like, oh, well, and I was like, no, like, no
Wow.
thanks. Yeah. So we talked for like an hour and she's like, okay, well, I just have to take full responsibility. I didn't know any of that. I was like, well, if you were handed this case, then you
Right.
should have been told all the details. So I don't believe you,
Right.
but for time's sake and because I don't really care to talk to you anymore, I'll
Yeah.
I'll pretend that I believe you so that way I can
Right.
get off the phone.
Yep.
So that happens and then we go through the months and like everything is how I said it needs to be. I was like,
Right.
this is how it has to go. Like this is the only way I'm going to feel comfortable because none of you are doing anything about it except for my lawyer who's
Did,
really trying his butt off now.
didn't you go out to your lawyer and ask for clarification of that A and B,
Well, we're
like
getting there.
middle? Okay.
So I am around 34 weeks pregnant now.
Mhm.
Um, and fun fact, my job did not know I was pregnant. That was interesting.
Yeah, that's right. They didn't.
Yeah, because I started work in October of
Right.
2020. So now
That's
I'm working.
that's
So,
right.
so so anyways, so I asked, no. So my lawyer contacts me and I'm like 34, 35 weeks pregnant. Um, yeah, somewhere around there. And he's like, okay, they're bringing this contract back into play. And I was like,
Right.
I know. I figured, like, why wouldn't they? He's
Mhm.
like, they're saying it's B.
Right.
And I was like, you freaking said it was A. Like the only part of the contract that I asked, the
Right.
only part, and you said it was A. He's like, well, their lawyer's really saying it's B. I don't care what their lawyer's saying. If you didn't have the correct clarification, then you should have freaking asked because I would have
Right.
never signed it.
Correct.
Like, and that's where my frustration. Oh, and then I got pissed, like
Mm.
so angry because, like I said, this wasn't a small thing.
Mhm.
This was a really big deal,
It was.
especially during COVID. Like it was
Yes.
a big deal.
Yep.
So, anyways, this stress, because I had to start getting NSTs, and I
Yep.
probably got 2 of them
Mhm.
before I went into early labor
Yeah.
because of the stress. And when I was in there, I had, they were like, it was this wonderful lady and I caught her up to speed. She's like, your blood pressure is up, like what's going on, like like all this stuff, what's going on. I explained it to her and she's like, and she saw some stuff and she's like, have you been tested for gestational diabetes? I was like, yeah, it came back negative. She's like, how long ago was that? And I was like, well, when you guys normally do it, I think like the 20 or 30 or
Yeah.
something.
20. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's like, okay, well, you're too far along now. It's no point to test you because you'd be having the baby soon anyways. But I'm going to go ahead and say that like you have some form. And I was like, well, what could it be caused by? She's like, well, are you under stress? And I was like,
Mm.
oh, like nobody's business. And she's like, yeah, I'm going to say that it's stress induced diabetes.
Okay.
I was like, can I get it in writing?
Yeah.
And she was like, what do you mean? I explained the whole situation to her. And she's like, oh, yeah. And I'll happily call this mother and let her know that she is the one causing it. And I was like, no, you will
Oh,
not. She's like,
whoa.
oh, no, honey, you are creating life. You
Wow.
should not be in here getting NSTs. You are super young. You shouldn't be having these problems. So the fact is, we now have a common denominator and we know what it is. And I was like, oh, okay. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, I need you to write this out for me. And
Yeah.
she's like, okay. She did. I gave it to my lawyer. She called the mom. I called my lawyer immediately and was like, this is what's happening. So blah, 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 blah. So he's like, they're still threatening. And I was like, even though their child is literally at risk to be due early because of the stress that they're putting on me, they just want to keep threatening me to come after me with everything that I got.
Yep.
They literally wanted to clean me dry.
Yep.
That's what they wanted to do.
I know.
Because they didn't get the journey that they wanted.
Because
Neither
you
did
were
I.
behaving.
But I didn't get the journey that I wanted.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding? Isn't the end goal a healthy baby anyway?
Yes.
Yeah. So you know what? I'm gonna do my damn job, and I did it. So I go in. I remember the weekend. I went in for an NST on Thursday.
Okay.
And I was just like, man, I am like cramped. Like, I just do not feel good. I couldn't eat. My stomach was killing me. I couldn't get comfortable. I couldn't do anything. And they're like, well, go over the weekend and, you're coming in twice a week now. So we want, we'll see you on Tuesday and we'll see how you feel then. And I was like, oh, can't friggin' wait till Tuesday. I just remember I was miserable all weekend. And Tuesday comes and I can't even sit in my chair for work. I had to sit on like the big yoga ball and I just had to bounce and I just had to breathe and breathe and breathe. And I get there and she's like, how long have these been going on for? And I was like, all freaking weekend, like since the last time I was here. And she's like, okay, well, we're going to check you. And I was like, okay. And she's like, so you're 2 centimeters dilated. So you have been in labor all weekend. And I was like,
wow.
I've never had that.
Yeah.
That was never my experience with labor.
Right.
And she's like, oh, no. This is, so we're going to send you over to the maternity ward. They're going to keep an eye on you for a little bit because I was 36 weeks and 4 days. And they're like, so like if the baby comes naturally, we're not going to stop anything. Like it's all good. And I was like, okay. So I go over and they check me and they're like, you know what, we're going to keep you here for a little while. And I was like, okay. So I call my lawyer before I call anybody else. Cause I'm like, you need to tell me what I have to do, who I have to call, who I have to email. I need to know all the things. And he's like, okay, we are on the phone for, oh my God, hours. We're probably on the phone for like 2 to 3 hours back and forth. I had let the parents know by this time through an email. He also let the agency know, like my lawyer's like, okay, I'll take care of some stuff. I was like, thank you, I appreciate it. And he comes back and he's like, Kennedy, they have the paperwork, they're gonna sue you. And I was like, I'm in labor.
Right.
He's like, I can't believe this. He's like, Kennedy, I'm over it. He was literally freaking done. He's like, I'm so beyond frustrated. And I'm like, you're frustrated.
Yeah.
I'm frustrated. Like, I'm in labor. Like they had just come in and were like, all right, so we're going to admit you soon. So call whoever you need to call and like get them down here. And I remember I had to call you. I had nothing packed.
I know.
Like, I was just not prepared. And I remember calling you and you're like, okay, of course you are. Like,
here we go.
I was like, okay.
Here we go.
I was like, cool. She's got to mentally prepare herself to deal with all this crap too. Like, and I got to figure out what we're going to do with Ash, like my kids. So it was so stressful. And then to hear that I'm now going to be sued if I don't give them B, if I don't give them contract
correct
in the form of B,
yes,
they have the paperwork.
Yep.
This is why I refuse to ever work with their lawyer. If an IP has their lawyer, no. Never in a million years, because she made my life hell. Did not care either. And
wait, who made your life hell?
Their lawyer.
Oh yeah. I know.
Yeah. And this is not the first time that I've heard that this lawyer is just awful towards surrogates.
Wow.
Yeah. So he calls me and he's like, okay, they have the paperwork. And I was like, oh my God. And I just like broke down and I had to call my sister and I was like, get me out of it. Get me out of it. What do I do? Tell me how I can get out of it. I want to do the minimalist thing, but I want to get out of it. Like, I want it to be done. If this baby comes today, then I'm done forever. Cause she's like, Kennedy, and I'm just going to be real. Cause I'm always real. This was going towards my house. This is how I bought this house. And she's like, Kennedy, give them it. Just freaking do your B. And she's like, but you know what? Make a damn addendum. Make an addendum that like, and be petty. if you want to be petty, be petty. And I was like, I'm gonna be petty because like, how dare you? I'm in labor and you have paperwork to sue
Right.
me.
Right.
So, but here's the fun part.
Yeah.
It's 4:00
Right.
on, I think it was March 30th, 2021. So I think it was like a Tuesday or something. And it was 4:00. And as soon as he told me that they were going to sue me, he tries to call the lawyer and she's like, no, I've clocked out for the day. Bye.
Right.
How is that legally okay?
Oh, how is that supporting even the IPs? Like, even let alone you, but how is she supporting her clients by clocking out
But
after
she
they tell
didn't.
you? No,
That's
I know
the
she
thing,
didn't.
though.
No, of course
But
she
the
didn't.
whole journey, she didn't.
No,
Like,
she
because
didn't.
she withheld
Right.
information for
Right.
days, weeks. That wasn't the only thing that she withheld. She
Yeah.
withheld other things for days at a time
Right.
because it appeased her schedule.
Correct.
And
Exactly.
it blew my mind to find all this out later because
Yep.
I was just like, what in the world?
Yeah.
Like, I feel awful for the lawyer that I had.
Yeah.
I
Well,
do.
this lawyer seems to have a control issue as well.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So she clocked out.
Okay.
And my lawyer is like, she's like, he's like, I can send you the addendum and like you can have them sign it there and like we can have it like, like they have a notary in the place, like blah blah blah, like we can make an addendum to the contract. And I was like, I just need her to sign the paper that says, you know what, if you don't, you have to do A B C D E F G in order to get your B.
Oh, okay.
In order to get your B. And
I didn't know that. I didn't know there was an addendum. I don't know why. Maybe I'm forgetting.
oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. So because of COVID, right, only one person is allowed in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Now I had told, this is how crazy it got. I had told my entire hospital staff. I was like, this is what's happening. And they're like, honey, like if you don't want somebody in your room, you just say no. And I was like, it's not really working out how I want it to work out.
Yeah.
And like I was like just like on the verge of like tears. And I was just like, I just can't do this. Like I just can't do this. And they're like, what do you need from us? I had, kid you not, 15 people in that room before you got there and before that IPs got there. I had the charge nurse, I had the head of the floor, I had security, I had all the nurses on the level. They all came in. They're like, what are we doing? And I was like, okay, this is what's happening. I had security like by me because I was like, if this intended father gets anywhere near me, I will call 911. Like, and they're like, we're not going to let him get near you. You are so safe. Trust us. And I was like, okay. But like they allowed one more person to come in the room for
Right.
it.
Yep.
And I said, she has to stand over there. She can't sneeze. She can't breathe. She can't cry. She can't weep. If I hear any of those things, if a pen drops and it's in her vicinity, I'm blaming her and she's out of the room. That's what it's going to happen because I'm not dealing with it. If you want to sue me while I'm literally in labor with your child, feel my wrath because how dare you have the audacity to treat me.
It was a
like
scare
that.
tactic, a really big scare tactic. I can guarantee you papers were not drawn up.
No, he had them.
He had them. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was like, she just sent me them.
Wow.
Yeah, no, they are not good people. So, and at the last second, I was like, because I had her facing the other way. I was like, I literally put baby in a corner. I was like, sit over there and look in the corner. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I was like, I'll be nice because I am a good surrogate.
Yep, you are.
So, I let her watch her kid be born.
Okay.
I held them for 2 seconds and I said, I never have to see them again. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
And they left and that was it. And then I was put on a VIP list. So the hospital hid me.
Right.
And put me on the complete opposite side of the floor from where they were. They couldn't find me. My name wasn't in the records.
Okay,
Like they couldn't do anything. Yeah, so that was hell. And then I guess karma because I got C. diff. So that was just freaking fun as hell. Like it was just like the worst journey ever. It was so awful. Yeah, but that is actually the only journey that I didn't put that I wanted an hour with the baby alone. Yeah.
You didn't or you did?
Well, it was this isn't the contract thing that I was talking about, by the way. This is something else. But something was placed in there about having time with the baby, but their lawyer took it another way.
Right.
Just as she did the other contract thing, and I was like, screw it, I don't care. I literally did not need time with that baby. I was like, go away. I just want to.
I took a bunch of pictures, and so you at least
and
had
I have one. And you know what? It wasn't even. I don't even ask. Here's the thing, though. I don't even ask for the hour alone for myself. I really don't. That's not what I do it for. I do it for my kid because I started so young. Like I started when he was so young, and he couldn't even come to the hospital because of COVID. Nope. So I was like, let me get a picture. It happened. Great. Bye bye. Like, and that has nothing to do with the child. Like, I have. It's weird to say I have love. I don't have love for that child. It's just like I have respect for that child. Like, and that child did no wrong. You poor thing. Also, I would just like to say he came out over 7 pounds, so he was ripe and ready to go at 36 weeks and 4 days. He was fine. He had no complications. Exactly. He was healthy as can be, and had he cooked the full term, he might have been like 9 to 10 pounds. So like, I'm fine that he came early. He was just really over the stress, and I don't blame him. But I had to stay in the hospital for 4 days. I've never had to stay in the hospital for more than 24 hours. Like literally I get there and 24 hours later I'm gone. So that was not fun.
Why were you in there? Because of
I had C. diff.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they had to come in with like all of this like gear and stuff. And I was like, am I gonna kill people? Like it was so traumatizing. I was like, what's happening? Yeah. So I mean, and I know I do not have contact with them now. But yeah, I had reservations about doing this for another heterosexual couple. But I'm happy to say that the couple that I have met now is so different and so nice. But yeah, but I don't ever want this to happen to anybody else. And that's part of the reason why I think we started this podcast, because getting stories out there and sharing the awful experiences, the red flags, but also, sharing the good experiences. Like, this is what surrogacy should be. This is the goodness of surrogacy. Like, this is happy. And like, this was just a bad egg.
And I do have to offer just one little disclaimer. And I'm not saying what you didn't go through was completely horrible, because it absolutely was, because we lived it with you. Totally. But on the flip side, there are parents or intended parents who have had such heartache and who have tried and tried and tried for years and years and years and years and years. And this is like maybe their last ditched effort, or maybe this is their last egg. And they just want to be able to breathe rather than holding their breath the entire 9 or 10 months.
Totally.
So I can understand that aspect of it, but it could have gone differently. Rather than being staunch, they could have said, we are so scared. We just don't know what to do. Like, it could have gone a different way, but they chose not to, because their whole lives are controlled.
Right. And like, I had offered, and I want to also say this, I didn't just offer the 3D 4D ultrasounds once. I offered them probably 4 times.
She did.
And each time they shot it down.
Yes.
They only wanted to do it when it was convenient for them.
Or it was their idea. Right.
And then, so it's a shame that it went this way.
Ours didn't align.
But I don't regret it.
I know.
Because I learned more from this journey than I have in any journey I've ever had.
Yeah. And after that journey, you had another big thing coming up in your life. And so hopefully that kind of overshadowed the negativity, because it was more of a positive thing for you.
Yeah. And you know what's funny is, so that baby was born end of March, and I got my house early April.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, early May. May. And what's funny about it is, probably 2 weeks after I moved in, the agency messaged me and asked me if I had a COVID shot while I was pregnant, which I did not, because it was still new. So nobody was sure how it was going to go.
Right.
But like, You weren't supposed to speak to me ever again. We aren't we are not on good terms.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. Did you respond?
No.
Okay.
I don't have to respond.
I know you don't. I was curious why they even asked.
Yeah. Actually, maybe I did. I don't
I
know.
wonder if there was some type of complication afterwards and they're trying to blame it on a COVID shot. Sorry, just coming out of my head there.
But I did not have a COVID shot
Right.
because
Right.
it was so new.
It was. Yep.
Yeah. But what's kind of sucks is one of the agencies that I was one of the agencies that I was talking to before I went with MEA now, they, because I had postpartum with my son, they needed my last psychiatrist
Oh,
to
yeah.
to say that I was okay to be a surrogate, which I
Wow.
found really odd. So I had to reach out to this past psychiatrist and I said, look, you probably thought you were never going to hear from me again. And I never replied to her. I didn't end up going with that agency.
Hmm.
But she was like, yeah, I never thought, but she talked to that agency or whatever. And
Oh,
because that agency is friends with her. And I was like, well, you
okay.
cannot ask me anything that happened in my journey. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't disclose
Wow.
any of that. So,
Interesting.
but I did sign an NDA.
Mhm.
I'm going to say this now. I have not named anybody. I have not named specifics of my contract. I have not broken any rules, any laws. I cannot be sued by anything that I have said because everything that I have said has been from my perspective. It
Mhm.
has been how I felt and it as based on my personal journey. Nobody else's.
Right.
Agency is not named, parents are not named, baby is not named,
Mm.
and specifics of contract are not named.
Nope.
So I am I wish I could share every intimate detail because I think it would really, really help
How long's the NDA for? How many years?
forever.
Oh, is it really? I had one for 5. Interesting.
I don't know. I think one day when I get to like be like a businesswoman and I have my own lawyer, I'll have him read it. Because I mean I don't understand legal jargon. So
Huh.
maybe it's only 5, but it's only been 2 years. So
Yeah.
if it is 5, but I think it's forever
Wow.
because it's privacy.
It is.
It's privacy.
That's interesting. Because what if you wanted to write a book?
You can't name them.
Well, if the NDA has a time frame where it ends.
I wouldn't want to name them. Why would I want to give them that platform?
That's true. That's true. But you could go into more detail.
I could go into detail about what my contract said. I could go into detail about what I wanted A and what B was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
I could go into a couple other things that are now looking back huge red flags.
Yeah.
But we try to warn those through other podcasts. Like, these are things to look out for rather than
Absolutely.
direct it towards this journey.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I'm so sorry you had to go through that. We as a family went through it with you. It was horrible, but
It was really fun.
we dealt with it this much. You dealt with it this much. Like is sad. It was sad. It was really sad. We were all so thankful when that just went down and was over. And you came out after your little problem with the C. diff healthy. Like
Yeah.
so many things could have gone wrong there. So many things could have gone wrong.
So many things because
Scary.
the amount of stress that I was under.
Yep.
Like my body literally gave out and said, "You're gonna have a baby
You're
now
done.
because we're done."
Yeah, we can't handle
We're
this
done.
anymore. Because when you're under stress, you put out so much cortisol. That is not good. That's not good for baby. That's not good for you. It's not good for anybody. And
maybe that's why he was like, "I'm done. Like, let's go."
And your body was doing it 24/7. It never shut off, even when you were sleeping. It just was still, very sad.
Look at the nurse in you.
But
Yeah.
a learning journey. Learned a lot.
Yeah, I learned everything.
Yeah. And you ultimately got what you needed from that. That's the whole reason.
I don't even want to say that.
Okay.
I would say goal was healthy baby. Healthy baby was born.
Yep.
Their goal, healthy baby.
Yes.
My goal, healthy baby and a house for me and my son.
And that's what I'm saying.
Everything was achieved.
It was.
Both sides got what they wanted in the end.
In the end.
In the end.
A long road to get there. Yeah.
No, it was a hell of a road to get there. But in the end, the goal was met. Right. I signed up to create a healthy life.
Yep.
And to deliver it to their parents.
Yep.
I did my job.
You did your job.
And I'm a damn good surrogate. And
Yes,
I
you
just, if they listen to this, I just want them to know I'm a damn good surrogate.
Yes, you are. There's no question about that.
No.
No question about that.
Thank you, Mom.
You're so welcome. Okay. Any last words?
No, I just talked for like an hour and a half. Did you want to add anything else, or are we good?
I think we're good.
Okay, grand. Well, if you guys have any stories or have any questions that you would like to share, please feel free to reach out to me at Stop.Sit.Surrogate on Instagram. Oh, this has been another episode of Stop.Sit.Surrogate. I never get to do this. This has been an episode of Stop.Sit.Surrogate with Kennedy and Ellen. Bye.
Hi, everyone.